Hi, in this video I'm going to be talking about divination and my experiences or lack thereof in that area. So D is for divination, so this is going to be my D video for the Pagan blog project. I really feel like I do not have very good skills in the area of divination. I know that a lot of pagans and Wiccans and witches um, practice divination on a pretty regular basis or pretty often. Um, I just have never really picked it up, and I don't know. I suppose it's a lack of focus that I'm always talking about. um, but I do have, I've tried a few different methods. First, I had a pack of tarot cards that I had bought probably when I was like a senior in high school or right after I graduated high school. But they were very simplistic, and the design was, to me, it wasn't really built, they weren't really designed for an intuitive type of reading experience. For example, the cards just had, like, if it was the Four of Cups, it literally had 4 cups on it. And there wasn't a whole lot of imagery. That's the word I'm looking for. There wasn't a whole lot of imagery in the cards to lean you or guide you in the right direction of the meaning of that card. And so it came with a book, of course, but it sort of was a deck for me that was sort of about rote memorization, just sort of memorizing the meanings of the cards and then regurgitating that as you see the cards and maybe making connections between the meanings. But it was very difficult for me to connect the meaning of the card with the image that was on when I saw the card, because there was nothing there to really connect the meaning to the imagery on the card. So a few years ago, I got rid of that deck. I gave it away, and I got a new deck that I got at Half Price Books, and I had seen it online a little bit, and I was at Half Price Books, and I was just kind of looking around. I'm kind of at that point in buying books, spiritual books, books about paganism and Wicca and stuff. I kind of am at that point where I'm over the 101 type stuff and I want something different. And the section that I was looking in, the Half Price Books, I just kind of like to go over there and browse and see what's there. There's not really a whole lot that interests me there anymore. But I was looking, and I happened to look in the case that they have there. They have a case on the same aisle, and they have like special, like older books and special editions and stuff like that. And I saw a pack of tarot cards that I had been looking at, and that I thought the imagery was really good to show me the meanings of the cards. So I'm going to find some like minor arcana cards here. But they kind of have a little bit more imagery. Oh, you can't see that. There's a big glare there. I'll hold it this way. You can kind of see. This is the Robin Wood Tarot deck. So there's just a little bit more imagery for me. This is the Two of Cups. Sorry, there's a big glare. I finally got my lamp fixed. That's why I'm in my living room. I've been filming in my dining room and trying to find the best lighting situation. The lamp in my living room has gone out, and it was just acting real funny, like it wouldn't turn on. And then pest control came the other day, and when I came home and pest control had left, they left my light on. So they must have struggled with trying to get it on, get the lamp on, and they probably just said, forget it, I'm leaving it. Leaving it exactly where it's at. But I just felt like this deck might be better for me to connect with the imagery, because I wanted to read in a more intuitive style instead of just memorizing the meanings of the cards. So I got this deck, and I was so happy because I had been thinking about it for a while, and then I was just happened to be at Half Price Books and I saw it. Now, that being said, how excited I was about this deck, I got it home and I started practicing with it, and I did do, and I also bought a tarot book. I think it was at the same time, or it might have been later. But I also bought a tarot book, a workbook, and I just I don't, for some reason, I guess it's lack of focus. I don't know. I cannot get started and continue with learning and practicing tarot. Occasionally, I'll pull out the cards and do a reading for myself. My boyfriend doesn't really like for me to read for him. He doesn't really like it that much. Um, and so those are really the only people that I have to practice on is me and him. So I do occasionally do a reading for myself, but I find that's difficult because um, it, I feel like I'm not really getting good practice because I already know my own situation. And so I obviously can apply those cards to my own situation. But if it comes time for me to apply those cards to someone else's situation, I'm not necessarily going to be able to do that. So while it's helpful for me in my personal life and my personal situation to use tarot for myself, I'm not necessarily as adept at it as I would like to be. I would like to be able to do readings for other people. Uh, so I tried tarot cards. Um, I also have, if I can find where I put them, they're in my lap. Hello. Um, some runes. This is my cute little rune bag. See, it looks like a bunny rabbit kind of. And I didn't notice that until a few minutes ago, but it does look like a little bunny rabbit. Maybe good for Ostara. Maybe I'll make an Ostara bunny bag for Ostara. But I have some runes that someone made me out of polymer clay, and they're not, you can't really see them. Sorry. It's the lighting, but I'm glad to have my light. I'm glad to have my lamp back in my living room. I was working on a end table, and like a side lamp. I was working with that. But I have these little tiles, and they have the runes carved into them. And so they're just made out of polymer clay. And so I thought I would, use these to practice with and try to learn the runes. But once again, that kind of fell by the wayside, and I never really stayed focused on it. And so they're just kind of sitting in my cabinet right now, in my witchy cabinet. So those are a couple of things. Also, I had come into contact with a lady that we were putting together at, like, one of my friends put together like a Wiccan class. And at one of these classes, this woman had just come back from Half Price Books, and she had gotten a Green Man deck, and it had this Green Man plaque in it. Let me get it and show it to you. Hold on just one second. So here's the plaque. I thought it looked really cool. And so when she showed it to us, when she showed us the plaque, I really wanted this because I had no Green Man representation. And so I wanted something to represent that side of the god for me on my altar. So this one actually was out on my altar for the Ostara season. But it came with, I basically begged my boyfriend to get it for me for my birthday one year. It's called the Green Man Oracle, and it has a book with it, and it's a deck of cards, oracle cards, and they basically have the trees, the Celtic tree thing on them, right? And I have used these before, but whenever I use them, I always have to use the book to look up the meanings. So I never really get past that stage of memorizing and being able to interpret the cards without using the book. That's sort of where I'm stuck at. So that's cards and runes, right? But there's also the one that people probably think is the easiest, which is the pendulum. And for some reason, I don't have very much luck with the pendulum either. Like, I can ask it, you're supposed to sort of calibrate it when you first get it. And maybe I've never really had a proper pendulum. I had one that I made myself, which didn't work for me. And then I've tried using like necklaces and things like that, and they just don't work for me. You know how you're supposed to calibrate it, and you're supposed to ask it, show me yes, show me yes, show me yes. And it's supposed to go one way, make one direction, and then tell me no, and it shows you another direction. But whenever I try to repeat that pattern, it doesn't go in the same direction. So I can show me yes, and it goes in one direction. And then tell me no, and it goes into a different direction. Okay. But if I go back and say, show me yes, it shows me a different pattern or a different direction, or it just stands still. So I just feel like I'm not meant to have any divination skills. I feel like I don't really, I feel like for some reason I just can't get my act together in that department. So I would like to know if anybody else has these difficulties. It seems like all of the pagans and Wiccans and witches on YouTube sort of have their form of divination, or they do multiple forms of divination. And I know that some people are doing like tarot readings and maybe even classes and stuff like that online. And I'm not necessarily saying that I would like to start a class or anything, because I don't think that I'm focused enough to follow through with that. And I think that my time situation right now is not the best for that, to be on a schedule like that. So, yeah, the pagan that couldn't do divination. That's me. So, I would really like to be able to connect with that side of things. Even astrology, and I know that that's not exactly the same thing as divination, but even astrology, I can't, that intimidates me. Astrology intimidates me because it seems like it's so large. It seems like it's so large and so complex that it would take a lot for me to understand and apply astrology to my life, much less anyone else's. And that's not I'm not looking to put that much, that's bad to say, but I'm not looking to put that much energy into it right now. I want something where I can see results, not immediately, but I need something that's going to work I need something that's going to work pretty soon, so that I don't get bored with it and there's not a lot of stuff for me to memorize. Maybe I need to give the pendulum another shot. Maybe I just need to get me a good, real pendulum, and try that out for a while. But I would really like to have at least one method of divination that is reliable for me, that I can actually know that I can go to and use to help myself and others if I need to. It's not that I don't feel connected or intuitive, because I think that if I had cards that I connected to and I could interpret the pictures or the symbols on the cards, that to me it would almost come more naturally and be easier for me. I feel like I am intuitive, but I don't feel like I have those divination skills. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but so yeah. So I would like to hear your thoughts on divination. Have you had any problems with it? Because that would be really encouraging for me to know that other people struggle with this, because I feel like I'm the only pagan in the world that has problems doing divination. It seems like every time that I meet someone or see someone who's pagan, they're like, oh yes, they read tarot cards, or they work with angels and have angel oracle cards, or some other form of divination. And I'm just like, well, yeah, can you do a reading for me, because I can't do anything. So yeah, any ideas that you have? If there's a different method that I haven't really tried. I've tried scrying in water, and I've tried scrying in smoke as well. That had mixed results. Maybe I should try that again. I don't know. So yeah, and sorry, it's really early in the morning and I'm trying to get this done before I go to work. I'm fixing to turn in my grades for the midterms, so I'm almost on spring break. Yay! So it's like almost 8:30, and I'm like, I woke up at 5:30 so to finish grading, so I'm kind of like, Rrr. Anyway, if you have any suggestions or If you can tell any stories about maybe problems or struggles that you've had with divination, that would be really helpful and encouraging for me. So, yeah. Tell me how you got your skills and your abilities in divination. That would be really helpful.